All right. Hi, traders. So good to be with you today. Looking forward to a little trading session with you. We're gonna open up the markets today and do a little trading. I came in and I was like, the guys in the office were like, "Hey, what are you gonna do? What topic are you gonna talk about in the trading room or in the YouTube live presentation today?" And I was like, thinking about it, and I was like, all I really want to do is trade. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to open up the markets and do a little bit of trading. I've been on a roll this morning, so let's see if that roll continues. Just want to say a huge thanks to all the people that came to our Trading for Income boot camp last week. It was amazing. We started Monday morning. Dig this. We started Monday morning at 7 a.m. and we traded all week long till Friday afternoon when everybody had to go catch their airplane home. We traded the New York session. We traded the Tokyo session. We traded the London session. We were up in the middle of the night. We were up early in the morning. It was just a fantastic event, and we had a great time. Jeff and Oscar, Ava, if you're with us today, it was great trading with you. We had a wonderful time, and it was great to meet and get to know all of you. That Trading for Income boot camp was one of my favorites. One of my favorite events so far. So, anyway, a huge thanks to everybody. It was great to get to know each one of you. Just want to set the stage here. At that Trading for Income boot camp, I talked a little bit about, why we trade, and we discussed different motives, right? What is it that's propelling us? What's our purpose in trading? And we talked a little bit about, the difference between income or trading for needs and trading for wants. There's an idea out there that if you trade for your wants, it's very hard to ever find satisfaction in life because you're always wanting something else, right? But if you trade for need, then you somehow tap into this everything kind of works together for you all at the same time, and you're all everything's moving in the right direction. So anyway, we talked about at that trading boot camp. What was a need? And then we went back and we worked through all of the mechanics of the trade and the trading sessions, everything that we need to focus in on, everything from our account size, how much risk we're going to take, how many trades we're going to be placing, how much time we had, what are our statistics, that back us up and help us move forward to that goal. What's our win-loss ratio? We threw all of that stuff together in a formula and we put a plan together. So I just want to talk to you real quick about one of my needs, and this is truly a need. But I have a need for a new truck. Right here. Let's see if we can share this. I have a need for a new truck, and I really need your help deciding. I cannot, for the life of me, decide whether to go with a Ford or with a Chevy truck. Here's the deal. I've got to pull a trailer across the country, and at the end of this month, we're going to go on a Trader on the Street tour. And so I want to get a good truck that I can haul a trailer with, and it's got to be good, like it's got to be solid. And I don't know anything about mechanics, so I thought maybe if you could help me make that decision, I would be hugely grateful because I cannot decide which one I want. So I'm looking between an F-150 or a Chevy Silverado, and so if you guys can help me, I'm going to follow the chat box here for a second because I want to kind of see which one leaning towards. Ford, Chevy. Oh, Chevy's taking the lead right now. Oh, Dodge. Larry. Larry says Dodge, so we'll throw the Dodge in the mix. Chevy. Awesome, Ty. Thank you. Apiary Fund says Ford. Who's up there? Who's manning the chat box up there? A Jeep. I like the Jeeps. Any rate, whatever it is, if you want to give me some suggestions, I would be hugely grateful, because I honestly don't know anything about. I know a lot about the markets. I know what moves markets. I don't know what moves trucks. So, if you could help me make a decision there, I'd be hugely grateful. I know that I don't want to go into debt for this. I want to be able to go into the dealership with cash, okay? And I want to be able to just buy the truck outright. Don't want to get into any debt. I'm pretty confident that I can do it, because if you look here, this is the account that we started at the Trading for Income Bootcamp. I started this account at $50,000. And as of right now, this moment, we're up to $80,800. So since the beginning of last week, I've been able to pull about $30,000 out of the market. So I'm well on my way to reaching my goal to get a truck. Now, I've got to get that truck probably not next week, but the week after. So I've got a few more days ahead of me. I've got a few trading days ahead of me. But that's why I wanted to trade with you today, is because I want to get the truck. And so anyway, that's why we're going to do a little trading. And I've got a goal, I've got a need, I've got a goal. I want to make sure that I hit that goal. You can follow along. I'll update you and let you know what we decide in the end. Before we get too far into this, though, let's see, right here. I've got a silver and gold boot camp. This is for Apiary Fund traders. So anyone who's a part of the Apiary Fund, check your calendar. See if you can come join us on February 18th through the 20th. What we are going to be doing at this boot camp is we are going to be working exclusively on all of the Beeline requirements. For those of you who don't know what Beeline is the process that I take traders through to help them learn how to trade successfully. You start at the beginning stages of the hive, the Beeline, and you work through these various levels. And at the end, once you complete the last requirement, you're automatically funded. You're given you're dropped into a $2,500 trading account. And you can start to trade that however you want. You get to keep a portion of the profits, everything like that. So what we're going to do on February 18th through the 22nd is we're going to help you through the Beeline requirements. Big deal. We tried this back in, I believe it was last October. We had about 30 traders there, and about 24 of them are now funded. So it was super successful, super helpful in helping these traders get over the hurdle, the funding hurdle, the last few steps of getting funded. So we're going to do that February 18th through the 22nd. And then in March 4th through the 6th, we're going to be in North Carolina, Charlotte, at UNC, at the University of North Carolina, UNC campus. And we're going to do a trading summit there. These are a lot of fun. We usually get, 100 plus traders. Everybody gets a funded trading account. So we give everybody about $1,000 that they can play with, quote unquote, at the summit. You get to keep a portion of the profits from that. So it's a lot of fun. These summits are a lot of fun. So again, if you can check your calendar and see if you can make that, that'd be great. In between that time, that's when I'm going to be taking the new truck and doing a trader on the street tour. So between the time that the boot camp ends and the summit starts, I'm going to be hitting the road in my new truck, hopefully, right? If I'm not in my new truck, then that would be a bad thing. But I think we can hit that goal. But I'm going to hit the road, and we are going to cross the country, and we're going to randomly stop in some city somewhere. and we are going to do a trading session with someone on the street. We're going to do this a couple of times, across the country. So we're excited about that. That'll be a lot of fun. So go over to the Trader on the Street website, register, or become a member of what we call the tap room. So just go in and subscribe or become a member of the tap room. That way you can actually enter in a request for me to come to your city. That is how we are kind of just, we're picking places where we can go. We're looking for exciting, unique things that will bring out, a little bit of the flavor of the area. But most importantly, it'll be a chance to sit down with one of you and trade with you. You'll be clicking the buttons. I'll kind of show you what to do at the computer, but we're going to trade together and see what kind of money we can make in a trading session. So that's what's happening. Got to get a truck, right? Come and join us at the boot camp if you can, because I think you'll really appreciate the progress you can make towards getting funded there. The Trader on the Street, we're going to be on tour after the boot camp, and then Summit. We've got a lot happening in the near future here, but we'll make sure everybody stays on top of everything. But for now, let's just jump in and start placing some trades. Let's see what the market. It was super volatile and great this morning. It was moving really nice. However, this afternoon it's kind of gotten into a little bit of a slump. So the volatility has dropped off significantly. And as many of you know, I really like to have volatility in my trading. But let's take a look and see what kind of analysis we've got. Here's this morning's breakout. It was a wonderful little breakout this morning. I was able to catch the better part of that little breakout. So I was gearing up. In fact, I was asking all the guys here in the office, when's it going to break? When's it going to break? They're like, I don't know, but it's going to break. And so we all piled in on this trade, made a little bit of money as that market moved up. But since then, check this out. Since then, we've just kind of gotten into a real choppy trading session. Real choppy, not a lot of movement. In fact, there was a stretch. Let me go back. There was a stretch right in here that I finally just put the computer aside. I put the computer aside because it was going into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 plus minutes of sideways, no volatility, no action. It's really, really hard to make money when the markets are doing that. So then a few minutes ago, we picked it up, and I'm actually gearing up for a drop, for another move lower. And we're gonna build these different positions and try and catch a move lower and all the way up. So one of the things that I like to do when I'm trading is I like to pile into trades. We call it wobbling. Those of you who are at Apiary Fund and Trader on the Street, we call this the wobbling technique. And it's different than a strategy. Strategies are what you're supposed to do. The strategy tells you what you're supposed to do. A technique kind of tells you how to do it. So this is a technique. Now there's not, out in the trading world, there's not a lot of talk about technique. And so what I like to do, one of my opinions is that technique is actually more valuable, more important than the strategy. Because often, if you're wrong, if your strategy isn't right, oftentimes your technique can compensate for it. Your technique can turn a bad trade into a good trade. A technique can limit your risk in the early stages of the trade setup, of the early stages of your strategy. So my technique with the wobble technique is that I like to layer in to these trades. And so the strategy, the call that I'm looking for is a brief is a move lower off these 5-minute charts. So we've got a rounded top up here. We broke a key support level. We broke a key support level right here. We're traded underneath that on the 5-minute chart for a period. But you see how we've got these wicks up on the top of this little channel here. We've got these little wicks here, wicks here. So what's happening is we broke that support level on the 5-minute chart. And right now it's trying to push up, but some of the market forces are pushing it back down again. So if it does break up higher, then what we're going to do is we're going to layer into these trades. The setup is still good all the way. The setup is still good all the way up until we break the highs of the market. This is all setting up for a down leg in the market. And so we can layer into different layers. So I might layer in right there. I might add another layer right in there. Definitely add a layer right there. So I've got all these layers that I can start to attack this market at using this type of a technique. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of watch and see if we can get. Now, at any moment when that market turns, that will be the move that we're looking for. But we've got a lot of layers in between here and the point where this trade setup starts to deteriorate. So let's watch this. Meanwhile, while we're digging into the market, if you want to join more of these, we do these YouTube live sessions every Wednesday. They're a lot of fun. Usually we'll probably go a little longer than normal today, but usually they're about 15 minutes to half an hour. But we'll probably go a little longer because we're gonna follow a trade setup. But subscribe to our YouTube channel. Really important, because every time we do one of these, they'll notify you, they'll let you know, hey, Shawn's going to do a trading session. Do you want to join? And then, of course, if you don't mind, like our channel. YouTube likes to see the likes. Go figure, right? So if you like what we're doing here, go ahead and like the YouTube live, and that will help us out a ton. All right, so dropping down to a 1-minute chart, we got a push lower right here, and then the push higher, and we're coming right up onto a resistance level on the 5-minute chart. So a push lower, a push back up, and we're up on a resistance level. There's a good possibility that could break and make another leg higher up to this layer up here. So there's a good chance it could break that. That's okay. And everything, we'll just continue to trade this the way we're trading it all the way up to that point. But let's see if we get that break higher. We're short, I'm short, so I do want the market to move lower. But at this stage, based on how the price action is forming, there is a chance it could break up higher. If it does, we're looking at a layer. We're looking at the market possibly coming up to about that layer right there. And so we'll just keep an eye on that. Cereber said, I need a truck too. We all need trucks. Everybody needs a truck. Well, I'll tell you what, learning how to trade and how to manage money opens up opportunities. I always, money management is an important thing in life, and I wish, I wish our school system did a better job of, teaching money management, because a lot of us don't really come from any kind of wealth, right? So a lot of anything that we have to build. And there's a process to building. You have to watch what you get into debt for. You have to save money. And when you save it, then you need to put that money to work. And that's what I'm trying to show you here, is that we can put money to work and we can get the things that we want. But before we get to that point, we have to have saved. We have to have not gotten into debt. We have to put a little bit, even if it's a small, small, small piece, we have to put that away for another day. And then when we do that, we can put that money to work. And that's, that's an important lesson that we need to learn in life. Because when we learn it, it really opens up the doors. It opens up opportunities like this, where you can make $1,800 in a trading session, and that goes a long ways to getting a truck, right? It goes a long ways to giving you the life that you want to live. All right, let's take a look. That's just kind of going sideways. Let me zoom in real quick here. We're not really making money, not really losing money. What I'm doing is I'm pulling up these profit targets right now up to a point where we have a high probability of hitting. So if those profit targets are down here, there's a low probability of hitting those profit targets. As long as these profit targets are above that line, we have a high probability of hitting them, or a higher probability of hitting them. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm adjusting those profit targets higher. Just want to make sure that if it pops down and tests this, there, look at that little move right there. That's a good move. We just picked up a little bit of profit on one of those trades. See if we get another push lower. This is why it's important that we pull those profit targets off, because we can constantly be booking profit into the account while the trade is setting up. And it's just kind of dying again. Really a slow market. Noon, we should probably do these YouTube lives a little different time than noon. Let's jump over, see if there's anything happening over on the British pound. Nothing there. 5 minute. Oh, let's pop back over to the 1 minute. Sorry. So that 1 minute chart is it's down on that layer of profit targets that we are at right now. So we're sitting down on that last layer of profit targets. We've got just a few trades at that level. I'm going to go ahead and peel this one off because the price level isn't all that great on that. So coming down just a few more ticks and we should be able to close out of all those trades, and that sets up the one leg lower over here on the 5 minute chart. Now obviously we'd love for that to break and move lower, but the chances of finding support here are pretty good, right? So what we're going to do is, as long as this pattern of choppy consolidation happens, we're going to ride both the ups and the downs during that and hopefully make a little bit of money in the process. Am I using any stops? James asks, am I using any stops? Yeah, I've got what I call, so I do, when I use my stops, I use what I call a long tail stop. So what happens is basically I put an extra wide stop in, and I don't ever plan on using an extra wide stop. My purpose for having the stop is to protect me in case something that I don't anticipate happening. So I set it a long ways away from where the market is, and that way if we have something unexpected like a news event that, a Brexit or something vote or something like that, I can get out of that trade. The stop will protect me for the unforeseen things that I see. Otherwise, I'll do like I did with that one small trade. Let's go back over here to order history. I'll just close it out for a small loss myself. So a lot of manual closeouts. And that way, it gives me a lot of flexibility in the trade. But as long as I'm disciplined and peel off those bad trades, then I have better control over my risk than using the actual stop to get me out of the market. Hopefully that, James, hopefully that helps. Rufus is an F250. Yeah, we could pop up to the 250 range. We could definitely do that. I might need a little bit more money. I might need to earn a little bit more money to do that. All right, there we go. It just closed out all of those trades. We picked up what, $75, $80 in that. Now the big moment is to see if this little support holds. So we've got a little bit of support. Market came down, bounced off it there, came down, bounced off it there. Now let's see if it comes down and bounces again, or if it breaks and moves lower. So that's what we're going to wait for. We're going to wait for a new pattern to start to develop in the market. Let's clear all those up. We'll put our line on, and I'm going to put it right at the end of the wicks there, because it's conceivable the market could drop down and pop right back up. And if it does, it would very likely stop right at those wicks. But it is so quiet. We may have to, I don't know. Are you bored out there? Is this boring? Or should we trade? As long as the market moves, we can stay we can keep things happening, but if it doesn't move, then it's hard to do anything in the market. All right, we're sitting right down on that support level right now, right at this very moment. Let's see if we get that bounce that we're somewhat expecting, or somewhat one scenario that could happen is that little bounce right there. Let's see if that happens, or if we break. Not at all, Daniela? Okay. Trade. Len says trade. Trade, trade, trade. Well, you don't have to tell me twice to trade. I love to trade, so you don't have to tell me twice. I'd like to get one more trade on the books and off the books before we wrap up. So maybe we'll try one more setup here. And what I'd prefer happening, but my preferred, looking into the future, my preferred move would be a pop up to somewhere around in that level, or maybe a little bit lower, like right in there. And then a reversal. That's what I'd prefer, because I can build another short. There's definitely a leaning towards the short side right here. And if I can get up into that level right there, it gives me a good leg on that would give the market enough time to pop back down one more time, test the support, and possibly break through it. So that's my ideal setup. If the market follows that little trajectory that I drew on there, then I'd be happy, happy, happy. If not, then we're going to have to try and catch a breakout. So we could catch a little breakout by placing a pending order. So let's do that. Pending sell. Let's put that in right here. Oops. Let's put in a pending sell. And I want a little bit bigger size, so let's just go with a 1 right in there. So now I've got 2 pending sells. So now if the market does drop and break these, then I should be in pretty good shape. I'll be able to catch the I'll be able to catch the move lower. Something's going on here. Okay, so I'm getting into a couple shorts here. Oh, I'm in a full position. I should pop that out if I'm gonna trade the way I'm gonna trade. So I'm in 2 lots, almost 3 lots here. Now let's see if we get that break or if it keeps bouncing. It could go any direction at this point, and honestly, it doesn't really matter too much because I still feel that there's that pressure. I still feel that pressure in the market. So even if it rallies here, we should be able to pop in there and make a little bit of money on that. trying to drop lower, but so slow. This is where also, traders, this is where you also get the big break, right? Sometimes you on a chart, you see those big candles, the big candle that your eye immediately is drawn to, and you're like, oh, I wish I could have caught that candle. If I could have caught that candle, then I'd have made a lot of money. Well, this is one of those areas where those candles start to form, right? So that's why this is a critical junction in the trading, and what has to happen is it has to drop and move lower from here. Okay, there's a little pop higher. Now again, what we're going to do is we're going to fade out that. Any move higher, we're going to start to fade out. We're going to start to build into some short positions. And we're going to adjust these just real quick here. So now we're starting to see that it took a little while, but it's kind of bouncing up off of that support level. Now, another thing we can often see is a push higher and then a real strong push higher and then a really strong push lower. That's more of what I call the trampoline effect, where it's going to come down and launch you. So it's like push higher and then launch to the downside. So we'll keep an eye on that. I won't get too excited if I get a real strong push higher. Won't get too excited at all with any kind of movement like that. And let's see if we get that turn. I've noticed, just a little FYI, just a little side fact for you. One of the most difficult areas to trade on a chart, is these patterns where you have a good strong support and it's really slow coming into that. So sometimes it comes in quick and bounces off. Sometimes there's a lot of volatility and it bounces through. But whenever we get these really slow grinding moves, they're a little bit more difficult to trade. So just keep that in mind as you're trading, that as you come into a support level, the slower it goes, the more difficult the call is to make. The faster it comes in, the more volatility, the easier the call is to make. So just a little FYI, something to jot down in your trading journals. Throw another couple trades on at this, right in here. And again, what we're looking for is the break lower. So we're getting into short positions. We're getting into short positions here. Always keeping an eye on what the bigger pattern looks like over here. Now we're starting to slowly move higher, just very, very slowly move higher. Build another layer, build another trade here. And we're just going to be super slow, super slow. Let me see what kind of questions we have. Does this wobble technique work best for 1 minute charts? The technique is actually adapted from longer time frame charting. So this is an adaptation. The wobbling is an adaptation of how large positions are formed. So when you go in with large money, and I'm talking millions of dollars in trades, right? So when you're going in with $1 million trades, you don't throw everything at the market at one time. What you do is you build, then you stop. And then you build, and then you stop. And so in a sense, this is an adaptation. It's a technique that I've adapted from managing larger sums of money. So what I noticed is that you have much greater control when you go into the market with smaller pieces. You can control risk better. You can control how you respond to the market better. There's a lot more control that you have by layering into the market in these little, what I call wobbles. So that was a great question. Can't remember who asked it, but let's see. But anyway, that's, so, oh yeah, it was Sigma 6. Yeah, so these wobbles, the wobbling technique works actually better on longer time frame charts. Let's see if we get that break here. We got a slight turn. It's hard to see that because my computer is so small here. But you can see that we had a leg lower, but however, we pulled all the way back in the body. The body is pulled all the way back up into the higher ranges there. So what that's going to most likely do is set up a pop to the upside. So at this point, it wouldn't surprise me to get a pop higher. There, we're starting to see that pop higher. Let's see if the sellers come in and push that lower. That gave that little move right there, that little push lower, that's what I call that trampoline effect, where it pushed lower and then shot it back up. Fortunately for us, the sellers were right on that and stopped the upward movement. It's not done yet, obviously, but that's what happened. Is that it's a trampoline effect. Can you see why? Have you ever jumped on a trampoline with a brother or someone, and they're let me launch you, and so you're jumping along and they push down, right? And at about the same time you're coming down with them, then they pop up and it just launches you much higher than what you expected in your jump. And the markets kind of do that as well. They'll push, in this case, they push lower, and then as everybody follows, starts jumping onto the trade, well, then they come in with a huge order, a huge buy order, push that market all the way back up. All right, just super quiet, super low volatility right now. I like to see, going back to Sigma 6's question earlier, the wobble technique worked best on the 1 minute. Honestly, the wobble technique works best when you've got high volatility. So we have not had high volatility during this trading session, so it's a little bit more difficult to trade using this technique when there's a lack of volatility. I'm going to pull these down just a little bit. Here's the reasoning why I'm doing that. If this market comes down and breaks that, because it is such a strong support level now, because there's been a lot of tests and a lot of tries to break down through that, if we are going to break it, it will likely have a lot of momentum behind it. So if we're going to break this, the momentum will be pretty good, and we'll see a bigger bar than average bars. And so I can have my take profit lines up here, and if it breaks it, I will definitely get out. But the chances of it stopping, the chances of that market stopping right here versus here are almost exactly the same, right? There's just as good a chance as the market hitting the lower X as it is hitting the first X. And so since the probabilities are almost the same, you want to align your trades with the better probability or the higher profit. As long as the probabilities are similar, you want to align yourself with the better profit opportunity. And that's why I'll be adjusting. I'll constantly be adjusting the profit targets to catch that. Okay, we're down on that support level again right this very minute. We're down on that support level one more time. Let's see if we break. This is the moment we've been waiting for the last 5, 10, 15 minutes. Let us see if we can get that break lower. It's sitting there. Big candle, and then it stops on a dime. It stops on a dime. Why does it do that? Right? Why does it just come down there and stop on a dime? Well, because that's where the support is, right? That's where the support is. Okay, we're to that first X. Now, if this is a true break, there should be some follow through. Let's see if it has that follow through. Pretty quiet. Pretty quiet. And just kind of waiting. A lot of trading is waiting. A lot of trading is waiting. Got that line right there, so we're positioned real nice. We don't have any real supports in between where it is and that. And once you know it, we get a little bit of bullish candle here, testing the break. And a move lower. Now I'm going to start to peel off because I want to make sure that I get out of these trades. I want to make sure that I get out of these trades before the next move higher. There we go. Picked up all the profit targets except one, and there's the last one. So there you have it, traders. One little trade set up in a very, very, very quiet market, but that's a good demonstration of how we trade. We picked up $40 on that trade, so you know every dollar counts towards that truck. Every dollar counts towards that truck. I'm going to go back and review all of the chat box again. So I'm going to go back and look, and I'm going to kind of see, what I should get, the Chevy or the Ford, which one? All right, traders, I think I'll wrap it up for today. Again, check your calendars. Check your calendars. If you could join us, it'd be great to have you at for those Apiary Fund traders out there, it'd be great to have you at the Silver Gold Boot Camp. That would be absolutely awesome. You will love it. You'll pass off a lot of requirements for trading. You'll make some tremendous progress. The chances of getting funded are super high. So that's a great one if you're in the Apiary Fund. The summit in Charlotte, North Carolina will be awesome. We are so excited about that. We We have some fantastic things planned for that event. It's March 4th through the 6th. So if you want to join us in Charlotte at the University of North Carolina, we are going to have a great time. We're going to be doing trading in the morning. We'll be doing lecture series. We'll be talking about, I'll probably talk a little bit about the wobble technique that I used today. These are great events, so if you have a chance to join us in that, that'd be wonderful. And in between now and then, check me out. You never know where I'm going to be. I might be on the street corner trading, so check me out. I'll let you know where we're going. So love to say hi when we're passing through your neighborhood. So we'll let you know what's happening there. So other than that, thanks traders. Always a pleasure to trade with you. Love to trade like this. I wish it was a little bit more volatile, but you know what? I'll trade anything. So with that, happy trading, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Thanks everybody.
Looking for more? My Trading Signals is a way to give you signals and teach you how those signals were conceived. By clicking on the link below, you will have access to Steve Perry's classes, tips, weekly review sessions, and all signals being sent out. Start your free 30-day trial today.